I have had so many success stories, amazing things happen with my journey with changing my mindset, conscious creating, as I like to say, manifestation. And this, I feel like, is my best success story because I didn't expect it at all. It was something that happened to me a few months ago, and I was only open to accepting one path. I feel like that's one of the biggest mistakes we make with manifestation. So if you've watched my videos for a minute, you've probably seen my best buddy here. This is Roscoe. He's my dog. He wants to be in the video, but only sideways profile. Do you want to be in the video? Yeah? And he is almost 12. He's going to be 12 next month. And he has been my dog for the last 4 years now. Yeah, and he's my best friend. I love him so much. I do everything with him. He's my baby. I've got the sweater that looks like Roscoe because I love him so much. So if you have a dog, you'd understand the bond that you have with your dog is huge. And a few months ago, Roscoe's in really good health. He woke up in the morning and was not able to get up. He wasn't able to stand up. And he is a huge fan of food. He loves food so much. He lives for food. One of his favorite things is apples and carrots or anything that he finds on the ground. He's not really that picky, he just loves food. And he, that morning, refused to eat his food. And I had never seen him like that in that state before. And I had an absolute meltdown. I started to panic because anytime that he would try to stand up, he would immediately collapse. And I realized something is definitely wrong with him. And I was getting ready for work in the morning, and I tried multiple times to help him stand up, and anytime I'd help him stand up, he would cry out in pain. And this was something that was absolutely not anything that I dealt with before, other than when I was a child and I had a dog. We had that happen, and our dog ended up having to be put down because it had its back was damaged. And so in my head, I was thinking, worst case scenario, this is what's gonna happen, and I don't wanna see my dog suffer. And I was not thinking in my logical mind. It was complete emotion at that moment. And so as I'm having this downward spiral and panic, thinking I don't know what to do with my dog that's not able to get up, ended up calling into work and not going in and trying to help him get lifted up so that he can go outside to go to the bathroom. And he tried multiple times, he couldn't get up. And I thought, okay, this is it. And I accepted that fate. And I was a mess. I was crying and I was completely emotional, and I was thinking there was only one solution to this path, that was the only outcome, was to be not one in the favor that I desired. And I just accepted that at that point. And I was crying and looking for vets that would come to our house. And I was afraid of vets. He just goes for his vaccines. He doesn't go very often because he's in really good health. And I had a friend that took their dog to the vet, ended up having their dog put down. So in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, if I can get him into the car, or I can get a vet, that they will, I just want him to be put out of his misery. I cannot handle seeing him in this state, and just thinking that that's our outcome. This is what's going to happen. And he's lived a good life, but for me, my life is going to change because he's such a part of my life. We had to get readjusted here. So as I'm calling this mobile vet on the phone and telling them the situation and preparing myself for this, to get him out of pain, to have, what is the best case scenario here? I was talking to him. He said, most likely that's what's going to happen, and that's most likely what your outcome is and what you're looking at. And so as I'm ready to accept this fate of, $1,000 to have a vet come and put him down so he's out of his misery, and it may seem extreme, but being in that emotional state and thinking I only have one outcome based on my past experiences, that I'm like, I don't want him to feel any pain. He's my best friend. I love him so much. I had the thought of, what if there's a different outcome? What if there's possibly a different outcome, that maybe it's not so bad. Maybe it's okay. You do want me to pay you. Maybe it's okay. Maybe there is some miracle that can happen, that everything is just fine and it was just a freak thing. Even though the patterns are, he's not able to walk on his own, he's not eating, he can't go to the bathroom, and everything just looks bad. And so because that vet wasn't able to go that day, they said, oh, we'll get to you tomorrow. And I was like, I can't handle that. We're gonna have to take him to an emergency one, find an emergency vet. And right as I'm getting ready to take him to the emergency vet, he ends up getting up kind of wobbly, and he's able to walk a few steps. And then by the time I load him up in the car, we get down to the emergency vet, and thinking again, checking him in, saying this is most likely our outcome, based on his age and what the symptoms are. I don't expect it to be any different. I still had that thought, what if I'm open to the best outcome? What if I'm open to the best outcome? And I tried to stay in that, make that shift to that different mindset, and just having that thought grow in my head that I'm not married to that one outcome. I'm open to the best case scenario. I'm open to the best case. I'm not going to be basing my thoughts on past experiences that I had when I was a child or that my friends had, that I'm going to just be open to the best case scenario. So he goes in, has an exam with the emergency doctor, and the emergency doctors, by then, and he's up and walking around, she said he's a little overweight, but there wasn't anything wrong with him, possibly arthritis, and he was doing great, and he was running down the hall. And they thought maybe, it's just a freak thing, and by the next day it'll come back. And I made another follow-up appointment with him, and they gave him some medication to help with possible arthritis. And I was so thankful. I was crying tears of joy because I was so sure that was going to be the one outcome, and to have a different outcome of saying, hey, he's okay, like, it's okay, you're gonna go home with your dog today and he's gonna be all right. What are you doing? You just sit down. Okay, go lay over here then. Of making that shift, that's all it took, was just having a different outcome. We had a different outcome. I had that outcome where my dog went home with me, and he, from that point on, kept doing better and better and better and better. And he ended up having a follow-up appointment a couple weeks later, and he was doing the best that he is doing in years. He is not on medication anymore. He's able to run and chase after squirrels, and had this miraculously healing, and he hasn't had any symptoms from that episode where he absolutely wasn't able to walk. I personally think what happened is I shifted it to a different timeline. In that one timeline, that vet came and had that outcome where, put him out of his misery, but there are multiple timelines, multiple outcomes. That's what quantum leaping, that's what manifestation is. That's what changing your mindset can do. Just having that slight shift where there's something different, and having that where you're open instead of a fixed mindset, where you have this open mindset you're open to the best case scenario, and actually having that happen. And I realized, I'm like, it's a powerful thing. Our mind's a powerful thing. And I wanted to share this story about my dog because maybe you're feeling that same way with having health problems, or something that you feel is just like you're ready to accept your fate, versus knowing there are multiple outcomes that can happen. I truly believe that I shifted into a timeline where he is doing great, and we ended up actually finding an amazing vet that we really enjoy going to now. So I want to share that story, and it's a little long and emotional. I don't want to cry because I did a lot of crying when I thought I was going to lose my best friend. And I understand, that our dog's with us for the time and to enjoy it. But I truly believe with my heart that I made a timeline shift. I believe I shifted into a different timeline, because once I had that thought, I had a different outcome, and my dog was able to get up and start moving around again. So I want to share that encouraging story with you, whatever your situation, your scenario you're going through. Just have that thought that you're open to it. Have that prayer, set that intention that you are open to the best case scenario, that you are open to getting something even better than you can expect. And I would love to hear your success story as well. So I appreciate you being here, watching this video, and being a supporter of this channel. I appreciate you, and I absolutely love connecting with people and hearing their success stories. That's why I'm here on YouTube. That's why I'm making videos. That's why I offer the one-on-ones on my website at Soma Shaman. But for me, this was a real tough one because it was complete emotion for me, and I wasn't able to think like a mindset consultant or a manifestation coach. I was in complete emotion. And just knowing that that's all it took was that slight shift to have a different outcome, that maybe that's where you're at. You just need to have that slight shift to have that different outcome. So I want to hear your success stories below, and I will see you in the next video.